Hey friends, it's Carrie from Dream Up, and today I want to show you how I made eyes for my wolf puppets. I created a mold box around an eye I sculpted out of clay. And then using Smooth On's Mold Star 16, which is a 2-part silicone rubber, I combined equal parts of part A and part B and then mixed those together thoroughly. I poured this mixture in a slow, thin stream into the lowest part of my mold. And I like to take my time with this to eliminate air bubbles from forming. I've sped this part of the clip up quite a bit for the video, but you really want to take your time with this. In real time, it took me about 90 seconds to pour. Once the mold is cured, I use a utility blade to cut it free. Then I examine the mold and release the model. Whoop! That guy rolled all the way under my cabinet. I then used Smoothcast 320, which is another Smooth On product, and this one is a fast-setting off-white resin. Like the silicone rubber, the mix ratio for this one is also 1:1 by volume. So I combined part A and part B and then mixed those thoroughly before pouring into my mold. This is a fast-setting resin, so it only took about 10 minutes before it was ready to demold. When the eyes were all cast, I used a circle template the size of my cabochon and drew a crisp black circle with a Sharpie marker. Then I painted inside the circle with black gesso. I just find painting videos very satisfying, and I thought, hey, I'm doing a pretty good job here, so I left the footage in. Here I'm just filling in the pupil area. In retrospect, it was probably not necessary to sculpt the pupil deeper than the iris. Once the gesso was dry, I used a metallic gold paint, and it's almost a dry brush technique. Maybe not quite dry brush, but hopefully you can see what I mean here. I followed up the gold paint with the iris color, and for this pair of eyes I used a pale green metallic shade. I would not recommend this next step, but I'll tell you what I did. I used a ball stylus to scratch in some lines, and while I think it was a good idea, unfortunately I scratched too hard and ended up scratching all the way down to the white resin. Here I'm just using some dark brown paint, which is a raw umber I think, and I'm adding a little darkness around the pupil. And I'm checking how the paint looks under the cabochon, and this is where I noticed all those white scratches showing through. So then I had to go back and touch up those areas with the iris color. I'm double checking the cabochon, and it's good. Here I'm just adding a couple drops of UV resin. You want there to be enough resin to flood the underside of the cabochon, but not so much it squeezes out all over your eye. And to be honest, this took me a couple tries to get it right. Here we'll unfocus the camera, just to be annoying, and then back in focus. And out of focus. The cabochon slid a little here, so I'm just holding it in place for a second until it's set. I used a UV light to cure it, and then it was done. And this is the finished eye. And the complete set. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a magical day.